Alright, so, and I need to order one of these batteries. I also need to put together a build before I go. So after I get done with this, and I have a laptop over there, or a laptop, I have a battery I need to do some soldering on. After I get done with that, I am going to do a build. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. If you like these videos, make sure you hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button. It really, really helps the channel. Never mind, I'll just throw the cake. I was gonna say, it's probably a capacitor, or there's something wrong with the charging circuit. Anyways, so as I was saying, customer brought it in. Not charging, not powering on. This is a Dell Latitude E5470. And customer said he checked the battery, unplugged it, plugged it back in. That didn't fix it. And he also said, like I mentioned before, it was getting very hot. And these are all captive screws, which makes my life easier, but it also makes my life harder. What the heck? It's all the way out. It's all the way out. 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 Yeah, they're all the way out. Why? Why are you causing me drama? Here we go. This is not a standard battery. So let's go ahead and get that unplugged. Set off to the side. And not take his word for it. And now we plug it in. We are getting nothing as far as the LEDs are concerned up here. Nothing there. This has no light on it, so I don't know if it's working or not. Let's check that with a multimeter. $19.5, so that's working. Now we have the annoying job of taking this thing apart. And I think we're going to use the electric. Or actually, I can't. It's dead. Cool. Alright. Well, let's start tearing this thing down. We're going to start by... Actually, let's check the DC jack here. Get that out. 2 screws holding the DC jack in. And this is just a little cubby thing for that cable. I need to remember that. Alright, well, I guess we're going to take this all the way apart. So I guess I'll kind of run through what we're seeing. Once you get the bottom off, we have our cooling fan. We have 2 expandable memory slots. We have our Wi-Fi card. The battery sits here. And this is our hard disk / SSD. There's actually a spot for an NVMe here, which is kind of cool. These are all your cables for the front. And this giant plate that you see on it is just for rigidity. It serves no other purpose than making the laptop just a slightly bit more rigid. Thank you. So we're going to remove all these screws, and you just need to pay attention. As per usual, I mention this with almost every single one of these that I do, is when you're in the process of taking it apart, you can kind of see there are words here. Little words tells you what screws go where. So make sure you pay attention to them, which makes taking it apart a lot easier because you don't have to necessarily keep the screws as sorted out, but it also makes putting it back together significantly easier. So we're going to get all these screws out. Looks like in total we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. This one was missing. 5, 6, 7, not come out at all, did it? Guess. That was 100% the wrong screw. 7. We need to take the hard drive out. Let's get that set off to the side. This guy didn't follow my rules. Poor guy. Probably never even heard of me. But yeah, all like this screw is supposed to be a 5. That's a 5. That's a 3. Kind of see what's going on there. I think this one is just taller. That one is super short. So make sure you know where your screws go, Emily. Let's get that unplugged. We have a King Fast SSD. What should be funny is I should probably take out individual components like that and then verify the computer still isn't turning on. Because King Fast has a history. So that one was correct. That one was correct. That one was correct. Another one here. And another one here. Also noticing there's a bunch of screws that are around the outside that are the 5s as well that are missing entirely. So that's all undone. That is undone. Just trying to figure out where else I have screws holding this down. So we have to undo all of these cables, which means we also have to remember to redo all of these cables. It's starting to come up. We got another one out here. Meaning it is 100% been apart. That is correct. And another one here. Which actually, I don't think this is part of this. No, it is. That's a P. So we're also going to need to undo the Wi-Fi cables. Both sets of Wi-Fi cables. This one actually has 2. And this guy here, which is supposed to be a 5. That one is correct. And another one here, which is a 5. We're going to find out. Like, I think it's a capacitor or a part of the charging circuit. We'll find out. I don't know if this screw needs to come out. That is different than the other ones so far. Also different. So what is holding me down? All right, undo our video cable. Need to get that up. It's up and over. Sure feels like something is holding that on. And of course, it's probably these 2 screws that are on the back of this. And I'll keep these separate. The problem is I don't know if these are the correct screws for there. One can only assume. Alright. Now, first in, quick assessment. Huh. This is 100% been apart. So I know for a fact Dell doesn't use Kapton tape in their laptops. Especially when you have a situation where you have a non-conductive plate over stuff. This motherboard actually looks terrible. Oh boy. This looks partially melted. There's definitely something on this. Probably flux. Well, let's whip out our multimeter again. We're going to check at those pins to see what kind of voltages we're getting. Maybe it's just something with the DC jack. Sure, I'm actually getting... Alright, cool. You guys can do this with me. We'll put it there. So we have... Why is this thing... The CPU is heating way up. That's interesting. Wow. This thing is like hot, like more than hot to the touch. So right now that's 120 degrees. Me just plugging this cable in should not heat this up in any way. So we're going to pull out the thermal camera and we're going to take a look. Yeah, you can see we got a hot spot. Pretty big hot spot on that. So right now it's at 49. Woo! Just plugging this in shouldn't do that. So let's whip out our microscope. Take a look at some stuff here. I need to find... Should have a... Man, I really got to come up with some sort of cable management for my desk now. This cable? I think it's this cable. Yeah. I'm going to charge this thing. Yeah, it looks like there's a bad component on the motherboard. And it looks like it is fried. So we're going to pull out my microscope and we're going to take a look. I'm going to need to connect this camera up to my computer with a USB cable to try and adjust some of the settings that it has. So I guess let's also check to see if this thing is just shorting to ground. But I mean, just to give you guys an idea of what I'm seeing here, you can see this is what the motherboard looks like. Not in good shape. So the component that's heating up is that. So this guy, oops, nope, that one, which you can see, not looking so good. Not looking so good at all. Oops. Alright, so that should be fine. So, yeah, so right over here, that side is, I wonder if that's shorting directly to this capacitor that's next to it. We have a short. For obvious reasons. Curious, though. Is this guy next to it shorted too? Nope, that's not shorted. That's fine. That's not. That's probably because of that. That's fine. Check this one. So, more than likely we're looking at either this component is as bad, which, looking at this and looking at the flux that's on this side, I have a feeling this has been replaced before. Alright, well, let's kind of dive into this and see what we see here. Ooh, that looks like it might actually be burned through the board there. You'd think that these people that are reselling these laptops would at least go through the decency of, you know, cleaning up their flux after they get done. Well, let's see if we can try and read this. It's really hard to read. Yeah, it looks more than damaged. Yeah, especially when we look at this bulge right here. Yeah, the problem is I also think that we have like actual board damage here. But it looks like all three of these traces just go to this. What's interesting is I can read this at an angle, but I can't read it dead on. Alright, someone take a screenshot of that for me and post that on the Discord. Please. I can search around to see if I have one. So what are the odds? And this is the question I'm going to ask. What are the odds that it's actually not this causing the problem, but it's this that caused the problem? Well, man, this board is so dirty, it's mind-boggling to me. Like, how do you turn around and sell this thing knowing that it looks like that? And it doesn't have to look like factory new, but it's got to look better than this. Where's my Chemtech wipes? Let's see them over here. I think they're back over there. Yeah, they are. Alright, so let's get this motherboard out of here. And then we'll see if it's something that's actually repairable. So let's set this back to the side a little bit, switch our inputs. Well, again, look, my question comes down to if it's the capacitor that failed or if it was the chip itself. All right, so let's continue with the teardown of this. Put this out of the way. So we're going to have, just looking for screws. Curious. I think the Wi-Fi card might be holding this down. Nope, Wi-Fi card is not holding it down, but we needed to remove it anyways. There's the screw for the Wi-Fi card. Alright, so motherboard screws. We have one here. We have, I think there's going to be three. They're labeled 1, 2, and 3. I wonder if one is underneath this. Oh, there's one. Alright, let's just go ahead and take this off of here. Hey, that's awesome, Mr. Biggs. I'm doing the same thing. I'm losing them a day at a time. When we're removing this, we always want to make sure we remove them in the labeled order. In this case, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're just going to go ahead and gently pull that off of there. Make sure that I'm not seeing any Doesn't see. I don't see any damage specifically there. That doesn't necessarily mean there isn't something hidden. This thing is holding on for dear life. So we have speaker cable unplugged. So to me, just looking at this, it doesn't look too bad in person. We have yellowing where it's not making contact with the metal, which is normal. I do see, that's interesting. What is that? It might just be some simple discoloring. Or it might be a sign that this was underwater at some point. It's really hard to light that up. Not sure. No, no roaches today yet, thankfully. All right, so this is our this is the front of our board. This is the back of our board. I want to kind of look in this area on the back of the board. So these two capacitors that are here are also part of that circuit, which I'm all the way over here, guys. All right. So we do have a short here, which we know is coming from the other side of the board. All right, let's get back into this. So SIC 530 something BA T718. I believe this is the same thing. So thank you. All right. Now we're gonna do tech repair things. Let's go ahead and zoom out. Let's get this off of here. We're going to remove two components. We're going to remove this component, and we're going to remove this component. Just to check. Because, like I said, my original assumption is that it's this, but it could still just definitely be this by itself. I believe that's the manufacturer's mark. I'm almost out of Chemtech Flux. I'm going to have to order some more. Excuse me, Chemtech. So let's start, like I said, with this guy. All right, let's get this thing off of here. We are at 30% airflow with 185 degrees. So we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna start with this, or 180. Starting with this. See if the whole board wants to come with it. More of that than I thought. No. Alright. We're just going to set that off to the side for now. Now we're going to check to see if we still have a short. So we still have a short, which means it's probably this chip. So let's get that chip off of there. It's going to be interesting to see if the board comes with this when I go to remove this. Alright, we should start seeing lift here in a second. Ooh, I'm worried this is fused to the board. Yeah, I think this thing might have welded itself to the board, because this guy is not coming off of here. When you can clearly see that, like, all of these points, all of these solder points actually have liquefied at this point. Which, if this is the case, this is more than likely like a lost cause immediately. So there might still be a short somewhere on here, because all of these were still going over to here. So we were able to get that off of there. I need to check this to see if there's a short there. Let's find out. And what do you know? Our short is gone. So, let's get a real good look here. Let's see what we can do here. This is definitely taking a hit. All right, so let's move that over there. I'm gonna pull out our actual soldering iron here. What we're gonna do, we're gonna put some flux. Yes. Pull out some flux and clean this up a little bit. This feels crusty. Zoom out so I can see. Ooh. We're also gonna whip this guy out. I'm gonna make sure I start using this. I really need to print an actual shroud for this thing, so that I can move this around, this being my little vacuum extractor here. So I can put a dryer hose on the end of it. All right, let's clean this up. So I tested the resistor. The resistor seems fine. And as far as the capacitors, right now it's not connected to anything because this is what we're providing this ground. And this guy looks fine. Still have continuity. So like this here, we've pulled out of the circuit entirely. Seeing as these are actually identical, so we can just check the parts. The only thing that's different is that. So this is the same. I can check my resistance readings here. Just going to check it using this. So basically at this point what we're looking at is trying to determine how messed up this actually is. So add a little bit more alcohol. Yeah, this board is crunchy. You know, it's crunchy, but I don't know if it's actually a problem. As long as I have continuity from here to here, I should be fine. Let's find out if I do. Alright, let's see if we have continuity between here. But we still have continuity from there to there. Which should be fine. So, let me see if I have one of these floating around on another board. If I do, might be able to replace it. Now, what I'm wondering is if that is still on here. Because when I look at this, that dot should be right there. So, yeah, you got it right, man. You got it exactly right. So, this is 25 volt in. So that should not go to ground at all. So if this goes to ground, we're done. No ground. That should be a ground. That should be a ground. So, at this point, we're going to take a little break. I'm going to go see if I have one of these. Which, with the amount of Dell laptops that I have, there's a good chance that I'm going to have this. No, doesn't look like it. And this won't be on any of the other circuit boards I have, unfortunately. Yeah, I have to leave in 20 minutes. So yeah, let's get this thing put back together. Let me get that capacitor put back on. And then we will get out of here. Oh, let me get this capacitor reattached for no other reason other than practice at this point. There you go. As good as factory. So if I ever come across this, I'll hold on to this motherboard. If I ever come across one of these, I will toss it on there, but for now, I need to get this back together. All right. There's this. I'm gonna order this tomorrow. Need to order a battery tomorrow. And then I need to do this tonight. All right, guys, that's it for me tonight. I will be streaming later tonight, so I will catch you online once I get back to my house. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for giving me the pleasure of your company. So, all right, bye everybody. Hey, thanks for watching that video. If you liked that video, make sure you hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And I stream daily on Twitch at twitch.tv/SpecVengeance. And yeah, if you want to learn more about my services, check out Bradenton PC Repair.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.